What's going on, baseball fans? How are we doing? So the Toronto Blue Jays are off to a bit of a slow start, so should we be worried about the Blue Jays? Let's go talk about it. Okay, so here we go. The Toronto Blue Jays, 17-16 at the time of recording this video. They're 2-8 in their last 10. They've lost 5 straight games. What the heck is going on with the Toronto Blue Jays? Well, let's kind of break this down. Let's go to the offense. We'll talk about the pitching here in a little bit. But for the offense, if we actually take a look right now, they rank 16th in WRC plus with a 99. Not a great WRC plus overall, but when you compare it to last year in 2021, they had a 91 WRC plus at this exact point in time. So, and we remember how good that offense was for the Blue Jays down the stretch. If you take a look at some of the bats from last year, Vlad Jr. was obviously amazing, an MVP kind of a season. The only thing that got in his way was the modern-day Babe Ruth, Shohei Ohtani. He was awesome. At this point, last year, he had a 169 WRC plus, a 566 slugging. They are missing Marcus Semien this year. They did basically replace him with Matt Chapman. We'll get to that here in a little bit. But Marcus Semien, he was doing good last year. Bo Bichette had 8 home runs last year, a 483 slugging, was hitting 272. Teoscar Hernandez, Randall Grichuk, they were both playing decently. Now, if we take a look at the Blue Jays this year, Vlad Jr., he's not doing as well as he was doing last year, but he's still hitting fine for the most part. He's hitting 284, a 361 on base, a 500 slugging. The WRC plus is down 20 points. George Springer has been fantastic this year so far for the Blue Jays. Also, Santiago Espinal, he has really stepped up this year for the Blue Jays. You know, Kevin Biggio, he has been just a huge letdown, but he has stepped up in a big way. One guy I want to focus on is Bo Bichette. He got off to a really bad start. If you take a look, in the month of April, he only hit 213 in the month of April. However, in 11 games so far in May, he's hit 318. That bat is starting to come alive. So look out for Bo Bichette. I do think you got to remember here the shortened spring training that's affected, I think, quite a few of these guys in the major leagues. So give it a little more time for Bo Bichette. And as for Vlad Jr., one thing I do want to point out, I do think he is going to end up being fine, but I do want to point this out with Vlad. If you go to Baseball Savant, last year in 2021, he had a first pitch swing percentage of 43.2. That's actually down to 36.6% this year. So that tells me he's not being as aggressive on the first pitch. And if you actually take a look here at the swing percentage, he's swinging more overall. Last year, it was a 47.3, and so far it's at 52.5%. So he is swinging more. And in the process, he has actually been chasing more. Last year, he was at a 24.5% chase rate, and he's up 10% this year. So he's chasing more pitches than he did last year. So he's not being as disciplined. He's not being as aggressive on the first pitch. So I think with Vlad, I do think he's going to make some adjustments at the plate. He's still hitting great, so I'm not really worried about him at all. I think it's just making a few little adjustments, and I think we're going to see Vlad Jr. end up having a good season. I think we all seem to forget this guy's 23 years old. I mean, good grief. You know, look, he's going to be completely fine. I'm not worried about this Toronto Blue Jays offense. Again, last year, they were not as good as they were at this point, you know, this year. So not worried about the offense. Let's go talk about the pitching. While the offense has been a little sluggish out of the gate, the starting pitching has been fantastic. Take a look at the Toronto Blue Jays starting pitching. As of right now, they rank 3rd overall in Fangraph WAR with a 3.5. The staff, as of right now, overall has a 3.93 FIP, a 3.36 FIP, which actually ranks 5th overall. The Toronto Blue Jays starting pitching has just been very good. Take a look at what some of these guys are doing. Kevin Gausman, man, oh man. I was a little worried about Gausman coming over to some American League ballparks, more hitter-friendly ballparks. You know, remember he was in San Francisco, more of a pitcher-friendly park, fly ball kind of a guy, but he has completely proven me wrong. He has been fantastic, pitching to a Cy Young kind of a level. He is living up to that contract completely. Alek Manoah continues to be extremely fun, undefeated so far this year throughout 6 starts, a 1.75 ERA, a 3.27 FIP. He is just building more and more, especially after a solid rookie season last year. Ross Stripling has actually been filling in for Hyun-Jin Ryu, who is actually pitching as of right now while I'm recording this video. And he's looking pretty good so far. Give it up for Hyunjin Ryu. He's been having some issues with his forearm, so I think a healthy Hyunjin Ryu is only going to make this rotation even better. But Stripling has performed well. The ERA is a 4.29, but look at the FIP, 2.94, so give it up for Stripling. Jose Berrios, though, that's one guy that has been struggling. He has usually been pretty solid for the most part. One thing I noticed with Jose Berrios, he's using his fastball a lot more. If you take a look last year, he was at 26.7%, while this year he's up to 34.5%. So I'm wondering if maybe they're going to adjust kind of how he's using his pitches. We'll have to wait and see. But that is one thing I am noticing. It looks like he is throwing it at around a career high. Yeah, right around what he was throwing it in 2018. So I'm guessing they're going to work with him. He has the track record of, I don't think he's an ace kind of a guy, but a really solid middle of the rotation kind of a guy. But overall, this Blue Jays starting rotation has been really good so far. I'm not worried about this starting pitching. One area of this team I do think needs to be improved is the bullpen. If we take a look right now, 20th overall in Fangraph WAR. They have a 4.26 ERA. The FIP is a little bit lower at 4.06, but what I'm not liking here is they're under 8 strikeouts per 9 in this bullpen, and the walks are at 3.5. That's not a good strikeout to walk ratio. So that is going to have to improve. If we take a look at some of these guys here, believe it or not, Jordan Romano, even with his 12 saves, is ranking behind some of these other guys like Julian Merriweather, Adam Simber, Trent Thornton, Tim Meza. So, one thing about Jordan Romano is he's giving up some home runs here, 1.32 home runs per 9. So he's going to have to get those down a little bit. But I do think the Blue Jays are going to have to address this bullpen. If they can go get a guy by the deadline where, someone that can strike some guys out. I mean, I'm not sure right now off the top of my head, but they definitely need some more strikeouts in this bullpen for sure. And they got to get these walks down. So I think for the Blue Jays, I think they will address this by the trade deadline. So in the end, I'm not going to be too worried about this bullpen. Last but not least, let's take a look at the strength of schedule on Fangraphs. If we take a look at the Blue Jays, they have, as of right now, the 4th easiest schedule the rest of the way. If we take a look at some of these guys that they've played so far, they've had some tough battles here to start off the season. They've played the Yankees, it feels like, every week. They've played the Red Sox a lot. They played the Astros a lot as well. And, with the Astros, they have been playing extremely well lately. And the Blue Jays, hey, they won a couple of series against the Astros. So they have dropped some series. Actually with the Yankees, they did split early on. But recently, the Yankees have had their numbers. So they were on the road in Cleveland. They lost 2 out of 3 there. They lost 3 out of 4. But, they've had not the easiest of schedules. A lot of games against the Yankees, a lot of games against the Astros. So I'm not too worried about the Blue Jays. They've played some tough teams. If we take a look at some of these teams that they are going to be playing this month, it will be a tough month. The Mariners, sure, maybe they're not playing their best baseball right now, but the Mariners are a solid team. The Reds, hey, they have been a little bit hot lately, but the Reds overall the worst team in baseball. They do have a pretty tough schedule here in May, but if we go to June, they're going to have some easier contests. You're going to have Kansas City, you're going to have Detroit, you're going to have Baltimore. You will go again against the Yankees. So they're going to have some easier matchups along the way. I think overall for the Blue Jays, I think they're going to start getting it together. Again, they've had some tough matchups so far. So overall, if I were to answer the question, no, I'm not worried about the Toronto Blue Jays. The offense was a little slow to start last year, kind of the same this year. Not worried about it. The starting pitching is fantastic this year. I think they will address the bullpen somehow by the deadline, and the schedule, it's looking pretty good for them for the rest of the season. So, but that's all I have for this video. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Are you worried about the Blue Jays? Do you think they're going to be just fine? Let me know. But that's all I have for right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.